Hey guys, welcome to today's meetup event. Let's just wait a few more minutes for more people to arrive. But while we're waiting, I just wanted to mention a few things. So the slides will, of course, be sent out tomorrow via meetup.com. But please make sure that you receive these emails, as I always have a few people reach out to me after the events asking for the slides as they didn't receive them via this email. Simply go into your meetup settings and make sure you have ticked the box to receive event information. And this just makes everyone's lives a little bit easier. Also, I'll be in Dublin the second week of September, and I'd love to hold a meetup face-to-face with you guys. I don't have any topics set out right now, but I would love your input. So please comment in the chat here or send me a message if there is a topic that you would like us to cover. Maybe you might be interested in video SEO or PPC and SEO working together, or a more technical topic. Or maybe you just want an introduction to Google Search Console. I know that I mention it quite regularly and I get a good few questions on how to look at the performance report or how to look at your internal and external links. So if it's something that you want me to go through in a little bit more detail, I'll be very happy to share my Search Console with you and run through all of the different reports that I use. So please do let me know, because I want to cover something that the group is interested in, as opposed to something that I think the group might be interested in. And finally, because this is a live video, if you have any questions, please ask them in the chat box below. I have someone here who can help me answer the questions as we go along, but the video will be available to watch after this, so you can come back while you're creating your SEO strategy and work through it as we cover it in the video. So let's get started. Creating your first SEO strategy can be a very daunting exercise, no matter if you're starting a new website or building on an already existing platform. During this presentation, I will talk about the 4 steps that I go through in order to create an SEO strategy, no matter if I am starting fresh or building on something that's already there. The first thing I want to cover, though, before we get into creating our first SEO strategy, is to actually ask yourself, do you need an SEO strategy? If you're a one-person department with limited resources, or if you're running your whole company, sometimes an SEO strategy is not the best thing to start with. So a strategy is a plan of action to achieve a business goal. So if your business goal is to launch into 1 million markets all at once, maybe SEO is not the place for you. Maybe you need to be spending your resources on email marketing or paid search. But on the other hand, if you want to grow your website's organic traffic and you don't want to pay for clicks, SEO is the best strategy for you. But let's pause to talk briefly about Google's algorithm. Google employees have regularly been quoted as saying that they use 200 plus signals to rank websites well. These signals include links, content, authorship, click-through rate, bounce rate, and so many other things. The list is way too long to talk about each one of them right now. But it is my personal belief that Google categorizes websites according to topic, industry, location, and so many other areas, and then uses these ranking factors to rank similar websites. So for instance, if 10 people would choose to set up an online store today that sell completely different things but follow the same SEO and content marketing strategy, only 2 or 3 would find success in following this strategy, even though some of those who failed did a better job. Hard work is part of the reason you succeed, but understanding your industry and your audience is the other element for success. No SEO strategy is the same for everyone. Each individual company and each individual industry have different ranking factors that are more a priority than in others, and you need to be able to identify these ranking signals in order for you to be successful. If your top competitors are killing it in terms of search rankings and they create lots of great quality content, but their page load speed sucks, you need to make sure that you create lots of quality content. And it would be ideal to have a good page load speed, because that's a good user experience metric. But if your competitors write no content on their website, but are killing it in terms of gathering links from other domains, you need to do this. You need to prioritize building links to your domain in order to match up to your best competitor, but you need to understand that you don't need to kill yourself in the process. If all of your competitors are not posting regularly on their blogs, you don't need to prioritize this right now. You need to prioritize getting up to your competitors' level, and then once you get there, you can start thinking about elevating your ranking through creating more content or using social media as an additional way to push out your content. So what's involved in an SEO strategy? For me, there are 2 clear steps that I need to take before I can start to create the actual SEO strategy itself. And this is to make sure that the strategy that I create is well informed. It's important to take all of these 4 steps, as each one has an important part in the outcome for your SEO strategy. If you don't have a clear understanding of what your competitors are doing in terms of SEO, you could work really hard at your SEO strategy, but you could end up failing because your competitors are one step ahead of you in terms of a specific ranking signal that you forgot to take note of. And then if you don't take stock of what you already have on your website, you may find that you create content around the same keywords that you're already ranking quite well for, or that you already have content for on your website. And this can lead to keyword cannibalization, which is a really bad thing to have on your website. So taking stock is hugely important. And then you may set goals that are not relevant to where your business is going in the future. So you may find that all of this hard work is in vain because the goals that you've set yourself are not actual goals for the business. And then finally, you may have great goals, but if you don't have the right metrics or the right KPIs in order to track the success of these goals, you don't know when a project is finished. You don't know if you've achieved your goal, therefore continue on an endless loop of creating great content that is not measured, is not tracked, and therefore is going nowhere. Throughout this presentation, I'm going to walk through all these steps with you because I feel that not only will these 4 steps help you to create an informed SEO strategy, but it will also help you build better marketing campaigns in the future through accountability and being informed. So what is an external audit? An external audit is looking at everything that is outside your control. So that is anything outside of your own website. And this is known as a competitor analysis. You're looking at everyone in your industry that you cannot control, but you need to understand what they're doing in order to inform what you need to be doing yourself. So in order to do a very comprehensive external audit, you need to focus on 5 to 10 direct and indirect competitors. And now you may feel that your business is very niche and you might not have any direct competitors, but if you spend time looking at the search results and looking at different keywords that people could possibly find you through, you can identify direct and indirect competitors that you may not have even known existed. So once you've made a list of 5 to 10 direct and indirect competitors, you can look at their websites and see if there is a common theme throughout them. Maybe they focus on imagery, or maybe they don't use any imagery at all. You should question why competitors choose the theme and the look and feel of their websites. And if there's a consistency among many top performing competitors, maybe there's a good reason why they made this choice. Or maybe you feel that you can test a dramatically different design that could be good for your business. Now look at their content. Do they have good product or service pages? Are they long and informative, or are they short and snappy? And what do these product pages look like? Are there a lot of pictures? Is it very descriptive? Look through their blog. It's important to understand their blog and how regularly they post in order to inform how regularly you plan on posting in your blog. Is the content good quality? What's the word count like? Normally, if your competitors are regular posters on their own blog and they have an average word count of about 800, you want to match this, but then you want to add 10%. But look across all of your competitors, not just 1 or 2. If your top 2 competitors are creating great quality content and the other 5 or 6 that you've identified as important competitors are not posting at all, maybe this is the reason why they're not ranking. Then look at these competitors and see if they're guest blogging or if they're being quoted a lot on other websites. Maybe they actually have a very active PR campaign and this is how they get a lot of links to their website. If your competitors are getting a lot of links from external sources, Google might see this as an important signal for content quality in your industry. So this is something that you don't have a choice in. You need to start building links to your website through guest posting and PR. Next, look at these websites. Are they optimized for SEO? Are there meta titles, descriptions, alt tags? Are they bland or are they killing it? Are they including keywords in every place that they could possibly include them? Or does it feel like the content that's created is very random? It's something that hasn't been well planned out or thought out at all. And finally, what are they doing on other platforms like social media, community forums, review sites, Google My Business? Some industries have online platforms where the community spends time, like maybe Stack Overflow or GitHub for developers. And you need to be here if your competitors or your audience are here. So do your competitors distribute their content via social media? And if so, how does their audience engage with it? Is there a good engagement rate? Is there comments? Is there likes under every single piece of content? Or is it very stale? If their audience engages well with Twitter posts, but are nowhere to be found on Instagram, then distributing content through social media is an important element to pay attention to in your SEO strategy, but you need to know what platforms are important and what are not so important. Wow. Okay. So right now you're probably so overwhelmed at everything that I just said, and the thought of repeating that 5 to 10 times is just frustrating and tiring just to think about. So I thought that I would share some shortcuts with you. But these shortcuts don't do the work for you. You still have to find your competitors, you still have to look through their websites and do all of the nitty-gritty work. These shortcuts will have the time it takes you to do some of the things that I've just talked about. These shortcuts are called search operators. So the first search operator will help you to find your direct and indirect competitors if you're finding this a hard thing to relate to. And this search operator is called around. As you can see from the screenshot, if you search for one keyword, place around with a bracket, including a number in between, and another keyword, you can see websites that mention the first keyword within 2 words of the second keyword. So the number within the bracket signifies how many words will be between the first keyword and the second keyword. The higher the number in the bracket, the more unrelated the 2 words are in the SERPs. So just keep in mind that it's probably better to use a number between 1 and 5 when using the around search operator in order to find direct competitors. But if you're still coming up short in finding direct and indirect competitors, you can try the related search operator also. It will try to match related websites to the domain that you've entered into the search. The screenshot here shows related websites to the domain WordPress, so CMS providers like Tumblr or Squarespace. So this could be a really good way of identifying smaller competitors in your industry that you may not have heard of before. Next, if you're trying to find mentions of a competitor online, you can try the all-in anchor operator, which will show you all results for where a keyword is within the anchor text of any web page indexed. So if you search for your competitor's name or maybe their product or service, you can find mentions online which will highlight if their PR efforts are large or small. This all-in anchor basically says that Google is going to search every single website and every single page indexed to find hyperlinks that include the anchor text of the certain query that you've just entered. But to make it even better for you, to find something even more solid, you can use a negative search operator, which is shown on the screenshot here, which is minus, and then use your competitor's domain, which will make sure that your competitor's domain is not returned within the all-in anchor search results. So this gives you an even better idea of where your competitors are mentioned online. We mentioned Sigma Recruitment as the minus domain here. We're asking Google to return any websites that have the anchor text Sigma Recruitment, but it does not include the domain for sigmarecruitment.com. And what we can see from the results here is that Sigma Recruitment have been mentioned in Glassdoor.com, irishjobs.ie, and irishtimes.com. Glassdoor and Irish Jobs are not things that we're surprised about. Sigma Recruitment is a recruitment company, so therefore they have jobs that they want to find people to fill. So Glassdoor and irishjobs.ie are job sites, so they're going to have to be mentioned here. The important one is the third result, the Irish Times. This is one of the biggest Irish newspapers, so the fact that Sigma Recruitment is being mentioned here is saying that maybe they actually do have a budget for PR. So you need to start looking at, if you're a recruitment company in Ireland, being mentioned within the Irish Times too. Next, we have the in-text search operator. The index search operator searches for mentions of your competitors or their product names that are not in anchor text on any page indexed in Google. Again, including the negative domain search operator will give you better results. Like here, we use in-text Shopify minus the Shopify domain. And we're seeing mentions of Shopify in Opt-in Monster, VentureBeat, Shop Deutschland, and Webflow. So these are all really good websites to be mentioned in. They're websites that people have heard of and people probably read quite regularly. So they're getting quite a good bit of publicity from good websites. This is saying that if Shopify is one of your main competitors, you really need to spend time building all of your external resources to link towards your domain. And then finally, if you want to quickly see how well competitors do with optimization of content, or maybe look at the size of their website, the simple site search operator will return all indexed pages for a search. If you use the main domain, you can quickly see if they optimize for meta titles and how many pages are indexed for a whole site. But if you add /blog, you will see what blog articles this domain has. Here in this screenshot, you will see that wearemarketing.com/blog has 194 results, and that is quite a big blog to have. When you look at the dates that are shown beside each one of these results, they're from 2019. We Are Marketing update their blog quite regularly. In order for you to compete with them, you need to start doing this too. Okay, so we've gotten our external audit done. And that feels like a lot of content to contend with. But this is only the first step. Now you need to look at what you've just researched on competitors' site on your own site. You need to take stock of what's happening on your own site and understand how what your competitors are doing is going to affect what your site looks like. This part is important as it tells you the amount of work you need to do in order to rank similar or better to your competitors, and you also need to think about if you have the resources to go up against your top competitors. Maybe this is a step where everything becomes more realistic. Your internal audit is hugely important as it helps you benchmark against your competitors. It can also help you to set realistic goals. Maybe you find that looking at your website, there is a lot of work to be done, so you can't go up against your top competitors right now. You need to set more realistic goals where you take smaller steps and you start to compete with maybe what you'd consider mid-level competitors who are not doing as good as your top competitors, but they're doing better than you right now. So let's look at what is involved in an internal audit. So your content is very important. You want to know what content you have and what you want to do with it. You have a lot of different options in terms of what to do with your content that already exists on your website. So you could choose to optimize your content and just improve your meta titles and descriptions and maybe add in keywords so that it's more targeted. Or you could decide you want to do content freshness. You want to update all of this content and do a huge renovation of pieces of content. And then finally, you might decide that this content is no longer relevant. So you redirect it to more relevant content. And here in the screenshot, I show you that you can easily use the site search operator that I mentioned in the external audit part of this presentation in order to do this content audit for you. Here we see Stadtballettberlin.de and a list of all of the pages indexed on their website. You can see that their intranet is indexed, which is something that they might not want to have indexed through search engines. So a simple site search operator will tell them that they need to no-index their intranet. And then you can quickly see if your pages are optimized. So you can take stock of your meta titles. Simply flicking through your site search results, you can see if your meta titles are optimized for certain keywords or if you've really just let them go down and down in the rankings. So for Stadtballett Berlin, you can see that their homepage is not really optimized for anything except for their company name. They can do so much more for their homepage. They can name the newest ballet they have on their premises. They can include maybe that they have a sale on. There's so much you can do with the meta title of your homepage that you really don't have any reason not to optimize it. And the same for their blog. Stadtballett Berlin doesn't have a good meta title for their blog, and it's something that really makes a difference when someone is trying to decide to click on your website over your competitors in the SERPs. So for them, a better meta title for their blog could be the most up-to-date information about ballet in Germany, or a quick glance into the ballet scene in Berlin. There's many different things that they could optimize their meta title for in order to make it more enticing for their audience, and they're just not doing it right now. Next, look at your external profiles. So like with your competitors, you need to look at what social media profiles you have and other important spheres that you should be signed up to. Are you present on all the same platforms that your competitors are? Are you maybe included in a platform that your competitors are not included in? And maybe this could be your secret weapon. Are you active on all of these platforms, social media and otherwise? And is it something that you need to start doing? Do you get good engagement, or is it worse than your competitors? And furthermore, you need to know who looks after all of these profiles, because if you plan your strategy around being active on these profiles, but you don't have login details and it could take months in order to get this, you're not really going to be able to do anything soon. So including finding out who's in charge of these profiles is important on this fact-finding mission. Next, you can look at your backlinks. So exactly like with your competitors, you need to look at who is linking back to your website. You need to know why they're linking back to your website also. There are two different types of backlinks that you could have. Good ones or spam ones. And the spam ones, the ones that you don't want, maybe they're linking from inappropriate sites, these are links that you can disavow. And you can have your developer disavow these quite easily by just providing them with the external link which they can update. Is there a domain that links to you quite regularly? And can you maybe partner with them in order to start doing guest blogging? In the screenshot here, I show you how to find your linked sites through Google Search Console, which is 100% free, so there's no reason why you shouldn't have this access. If you follow the steps on the bottom of the screen, you go to Search Console, you choose the property that you want to look at, you go into your links on the left-hand side, you click on external links, and then you will make your way to your top linking sites. You can see all of the sites that are linking to you, and it will show the anchor text for each specific link as well. Here we can see from the property that we're looking at that they have links from SEOgenie.com, Medium.com and WordPress.com. So the last two linking sites are actually quite good domain linking sites, and the first two are relatively unknown. So if you have a backlink profile like this, you should be very happy, as it looks like a very natural backlink profile as opposed to one where you're buying links. But you can only see these linking sites from your property. You can't see it from a competitor. So now you can look at internal links, and just like with external links, you can see your internal links on Google Search Console as well. And this screenshot shows it. It's always good to have an internal link structure that helps Google to understand the relationship between one page to others on your website. You need to ask if you have a good linking structure where all new pages are linked to relevant pages within your website, and that you don't have any orphan pages. And orphan pages are pages that don't have any internal links at all, because this can be very confusing to Google when they're crawling your website. If a page has no internal links pointing to it, it's very confusing for Google to make a good analysis of the content on that page and the importance of that content to your company. The screenshot shows how to find these internal links, but you should start with the most important high traffic pages on your website to make sure that the internal linking structure is good in these, and then start working your way back. It's always good to optimize your best performing pages first. Now you want to look closer at the performance of your website. So you want to look at your page load speed and maybe if you can optimize images to help your pages load a lot faster. And something that you can use, which is 100% free, is Google's Page Speed Insights tool. I've included a link in this presentation, which will be available with the slides afterwards. So with this tool, you can look at if your website loads faster or slower than your competitors. And it's always good to have a faster loading website in general. But if you find that your competitors have faster websites than you need to start looking at ways to improve your page load speed. This tool that I show you a screenshot of here is quite good because it gives you a summary of the things that Google perceives to be the reason behind your slow page load speed. And what you can do is give it to your developer or your web development agency in order for them to do the work behind this, because most of the time it has to do with your style sheet or the way that your pages are set up to load. And then finally, which is the most important step, is do you have a manual action taken against you? And these manual actions are shown in your Google Search Console, and it's always really good to check if you find a sudden drop in rankings, if you have a manual action against you, because Google is very forthcoming with things like this. Manual actions can be many things, but they normally revolve around Google seeing your website as having unnatural links to it or a large quantity of duplicate content. Unnatural linking would be the fact that a lot of weird, maybe unrelated sites link to you all at once, or maybe they use the same anchor text. And this normally happens when you pay for links to your website. So you may use a service that promise you 100 links to your website from high authority domains, but you may find that they carry out these external links all at once so that Google sees all of these links appearing and it just feels so unnatural that they take a manual action against you. Manual actions can be very hard to get rid of, so it's something that you want to keep to a minimum. So please don't think that buying links is a good idea or that duplicating content from your competitors is an easy way of getting better search rankings, because it's not. So all of the above internal ranking factors are directly related to what we've looked at with our external audit factors. You should make sure that you benchmark what you found your competitors are doing against your own website, and make a list of things that you're doing really well and things that your competitors are doing well. And then from everything in between, you need to make a list of things that you need to work on in order to rank better. So if you find that your competitors are creating lots of great content, they have amazing product pages with hundreds of words of descriptions and lovely pictures, but you're falling behind because you don't create a lot of content and your product pages are small, they're sparse, then you need to start working on trying to get up to the standard of your competitors and creating that content and spending time working on creating the best content that people could find out there, because you're writing this content for your customers and not just for a search engine. So now you need to start planning your strategy. All the things you're falling down on, you need to rationalise why you should start doing them now. What did your competitors get from doing the activities that you haven't started doing that would make it a good idea for you to start? And here are some examples of some goals that you could set according to the different elements of an SEO strategy you could possibly come by. So for example, you could maybe rationalize that you want to increase your organic traffic by a certain percent through using content creation and keyword optimization of existing content. Or you may want to increase branded search visibility through being active on external platforms like forums or community sites where you start talking to your customers and sharing information freely on them. Or maybe you want to increase your organic conversions by X%. And you can do this through SEO by improving the overall performance of your website. There is a lot of research out there that shows that good page load speed increases trust among your customers, leading them to convert more on your website. Or you may want to improve click-through rate on maybe your service pages. And you can improve your click-through rate by doing meta title optimization. Meta title optimization basically means that when you show up in search results, you look really good and enticing for people to click on. You're showing the best possible information about what's on that page to the searcher for them to want to click on your result over your competitors and read the content on your website. But maybe you want to be seen as a thought leader on a topic, and guest blogging is the best way to achieve this. Being seen on multiple domains, talking about one specific topic, is the ideal way for you to get your name out there. Or maybe you want to be a leader in a certain form of content. So maybe all your competitors are writing long form text, but you want to start looking at doing a podcast or doing video marketing. And this is where you can start getting known through investing in backlinking and doing interviews on other people's websites, talking about this form of content that you've started to do that your competitors haven't started to do yet. So what is important here is that you need to set goals that are informed by the direction that your business wants to move in. If you have no measure for success or motivation to continue an activity, i.e., if you don't know what you're going to achieve from doing a specific activity, you're not going to keep it up. So it's important that you follow this step and have reasons behind each element of your strategy in order to keep it going and be motivated overall. And then finally, we want to set KPIs for each goal. And these are success metrics that tell you when you've achieved what you set out to achieve. You may think that this is an afterthought, but a goal without a KPI cannot be successful. You need to know what success looks like before you start a project in order to understand the real value of doing this particular project. You could set out to increase the click-through rate of all your product pages, but will a 0.01% increase be classed as a success, or are you looking to increase your click-through rate by 2% on each specific page? The KPI is hugely important because it tells you when your project is over and if you have achieved what you wanted to achieve. So here are some sample KPIs that you can use in order to track the success of each goal that you've set within your SEO strategy. For example, clicks. If you see an increase in clicks to your website, you have increased your organic traffic, and you can track this through Google Search Console. And this is the same with click-through rate. If you're doing meta title optimization and you see an increase in your click-through rate, it shows that the amount of people that are seeing your search result and are clicking on it have increased. Therefore, your meta title optimization has been a success. And you can track this through Google Search Console. But then conversions could be hugely important to you when you start to optimize your website's performance. And you can track this through Google Analytics or any other tracking software once you set up your goals in order for the platform that you're using to track your conversions to understand what you're tracking. And conversions can include email subscriptions, ebook downloads, sales, visitors to a specific landing page. There's so many different conversions that they're not just down to sales and actions where a customer spends money. But then maybe you want to look at your rankings. Maybe you feel that certain pages or certain keywords are hugely important to your SEO strategy success, so you can look at your rankings through Google Search Console. I personally feel that tracking keyword rankings through Google Search Console or any other tool is a bad way to track success, as these are average rankings over a specific period of time. So for instance, if you launch a blog article on a Monday and then you want to track the success over a 2-week period, you may find that your blog article ranked 50 for a specific keyword in the first 2 or 3 days that it had been live, but over time it moved up to position 1 or 2. If you track the ranking over a 2-week period, your average position or ranking will be about 25, so it doesn't look very good. But if you look at your clicks, you can see that over time, your page will have increased in clicks and in impressions. So that's a better KPI to track the success of content. But then there are such things as engagement metrics. And these metrics are mainly shown on Google Analytics. So for instance, time on page, bounce rate, and exit rate. And there's a lot of content and there's a lot of case studies out there that say that time on page, bounce rate, and perhaps exit rate are hugely important to Google when they look at ranking signals for your website. But engagement metrics are not just great for Google. They're great for identifying if your content is engaging for yourself and for you to be able to identify problems that you may have with specific pages on your website. So if you get a bounce rate of 100% on a page on your website with a time on page of 1 second, this is bad, as it denotes that every person who clicked through to this page from organic search results or any other search left the page within 1 second. So they definitely didn't read the content on that page, and they didn't look around your website. They clicked onto your page from Google, and then they clicked off back to Google. However, if you notice a bounce rate of 100% on a page on your website with an average time on page of 1 minute, well, that is better as people are spending time on this page. They might not have visited another page on your website, but they read the content on that page. They wanted to spend 1 minute of their time on your website. So maybe instead of wanting to know more information on your website, you have answered the question that they have asked of you. Or maybe they even rang your office and set up a meeting with one of your sales consultants. Therefore, they didn't need your website any longer. They've already set up a meeting in order to become a customer of yours. So engagement metrics are great at helping you understand your audience. And if you spend time setting conversions, you can actually really track what people do on your website. You can track the amount of times people click on the number that you display for your office. Okay, so we've set out 4 pretty extensive steps in order to create an SEO strategy. Now you may find that you can't really picture what the end result looks like, and you think that's hugely important for the success of you creating this SEO strategy. But to be quite honest, depending on if you're a small business with only 1 or 2 employees, or if you're part of a huge marketing department and you need to present this SEO strategy to a board of directors, your SEO strategy, the finished product, is going to look so different. I've created so many different SEO strategies that look hugely different to each other that it's impossible to know that I've taken the same 4 steps in each one of them. I've created an SEO strategy that looks like this. Very simple. It outlines your aims, your goals, your activities, and your metrics. And this is perfect for if you're starting your own business, you have maybe 1 or 2 employees, and you're the person who's carrying out your SEO strategy on a daily basis. This is your motivation that you can stick up on the wall beside you to make sure that you know what you're doing and how you're doing it and when you know you've achieved your goal. But then I've also created SEO strategies that look more like this. A 12-page document or even bigger that I need to bring to a board of directors, and I need to rationalise every single little thing that I want to do in order to get the budget I need to achieve the goals that I've set. I need to summarise my competitor analysis, outline the position our company is in right now, talk about what your strategy is going to be and what it isn't going to be, highlight how to carry out the strategy, and of course you need a pretty Gantt chart with lovely colours, and then finally I need to outline what the success looks like at the end of all of these activities. So depending on who I'm presenting this SEO strategy to, it really informs what the finished product is actually going to look like. At the end of the day, you're creating a strategy that suits your business. You're not looking for a template that you found online, and you're also not looking to follow an SEO strategy that worked for someone else in a different industry for a different company. You're looking for an SEO strategy that will bring you success. So if you don't include your external audit, your internal audit, setting your goals and setting your KPIs, you're not going to achieve the success that you're looking for because you're just copying off of something someone else did. And that's everything I had to say about creating an SEO strategy from my point of view. It is a long process that normally takes me about a week to complete, but depending on how big a strategy you create, it could encompass a 12 to 24 month period. I normally plan out each month or 2 and look at success metrics at the end of every month. But as you start to see your metrics improve, you can start looking at these more regularly, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. And it's a really nice thing to see that your clicks and your online traffic is going up through what you're doing within your SEO strategy. At any stage in your planning process, if you do have questions, please reach out to me and ask me anything. I find, especially when I'm doing an external audit, that I have a lot of ideas, and it's great to have someone to bounce these ideas off because it can help me to prioritize or to omit activities from my strategy. And I've included a list of resources in these slides, and they're all hyperlinked, so when you receive the slides tomorrow, you'll be able to click on them via meetup.com. So please, as I mentioned at the start of this video, make sure that you are subscribed to the group updates. Just go into your Meetup settings and make sure you've ticked the box to receive event information. Thanks for joining me this evening. I hope you have learned something valuable from this presentation. The video is available to watch whenever suits you. And please, if you have any questions about SEO, do reach out to me. If I don't know the answer myself, I can point you in the direction of someone who does know the answer. Have a great evening.